Okay, this is the honest truth, okay? I'm gonna just tell you the honest truth, what I feel like the reason why Samoans would never be Malaysians. Number one, if you were like the king of Samoa, just say you were Dwayne Johnson, you're the king of Samoa, and you had all the choices, and like you've been to every island. You went to Samoa, you went to Tahiti, you went to Tonga, you went to Fiji, you went to Solomon Islands, you went to Australia. Let's just say you went as far as Native America. And here you have all these women. You see them. Let's just say you went all the way to Africa. Now, we don't know where the origins of where Dwayne Johnson came from. We're just saying if you were Dwayne Johnson, the man, right? Now, let me ask you a question. And just say he never went to Europe, okay? Because we all know that Dwayne Johnson, he really does like his white woman, right? But let's just say these were the only options you went to. These are the only nations you could go to. Now, I want to be on. I want you to be really honest with yourself and ask yourself this question. If you were the king of Tonga and Samoa and you had to pick all the women, because back in the days, the Tongan kings would get all their women from a certain country. Okay, I'm just telling you, I'm a Christian. I'm not in no way embracing concubines or anything like that, but it happened back in those days. But if you were the king of Tonga or the king of Samoa, where would you go get most of your women from? If you had to pick out of all the nations? And I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't really get my woman from Fiji, and I'm not hating on Fijian women. I wouldn't get my woman from Papua New Guinea, or I would get my woman from the Solomon Islands. In fact, I would get most of the women that I'm really attracted to are Micronesians, Tahitians, other Polynesians, and Native America. And this is why I do believe Malaysian or the intermixing of two races never happened, because number one, there is nowhere where in history in Melanesia do you see the Papua New Guineans or even the Fijians have a king. They never had a king. They never had anywhere in history where you see the Fijians and the Melanesians enslaving the Polynesian people. You never see that. But I tell you one thing that you do see. And you see Tonga and Samoans, especially the Tongans, they had slaves. And I'm talking about they took other Polynesians as slaves and they took Melanesians as slaves. And if I was the king of, like the king of all of Oceania, even though I wouldn't have like Melanesian wives, I know if I was the king and I wanted to keep this control over all of Oceania, I would make sure that whoever my sons or any of my family members within my family, in order to keep this power, I would make sure that if I had daughters, I wouldn't really take my daughters. Maybe I'll allow my daughters to marry other Polynesians, but I would have let my men, even though if they wanted to or not, marry with the Melanesian chiefs' daughters. Simple as that. That's how you keep control. But the honest truth of the matter is, I know that even Fijians and Papua New Guineans, if they are watching this, they are really attracted to Tongan and Samoan. And they would, I know for a fact, be willing to give anything. You know, they would be like the king who took the head of King Herod. They would even kill their own people in order to have a Samoan or a Tongan wife. And if they're that desperate, well, they'll be willing to give up their land as well. So they would be able to give up the whole village just in order to have a Samoan wife. So that's how the intermixing of the blood, or the mixture of Melanesians and Polynesians happened. But it did not happen with all Polynesians. Get that right. Okay? Not all Samoans and not all Tongans have Melanesian blood. In fact, I would say most Tongans and Samoans would have Tongan or Samoan blood. No Asian and no Melanesian. No, sorry. So I'm just trying to correct that history for everyone. Okay? And I promise you this, if there's a Tongan, if there's a Fijian, Tongan, any Pacific Islanders, they would agree to what I'm saying. Okay? If they had the choice of all the women within Oceania, or in Australia, or if they could pick Native America, just say this is how far my ancestors went to. Do you really think that the men would want to take a Melanesian or African as a wife? Okay? No.